Hello, everyone. Welcome to the official Court of the IGE podcast. I am your host, Magpie, and with me is my co-host, Sarcastic. Say hello, Sarcastic.
Hello, Sarcastic.
The theme of the podcast, well, at least on this segment, we're going to be talking about Lovecraft lore, specifically what is commonly known as the Cthulhu mythos. However, we're not going to call it that here. We're going to call it the Yog-Sothothery, which is what he actually would have wanted, because that's what he called it. In any case.
Yeah, so I will do my best to try and keep just to Yog-Sothothery. And are we going to be focusing more on just the works by Lovecraft, or is this going to be going into the expanded universe as well, and the stuff that came later?
We could go into the expanded stuff later. For now, we're going to touch on just the Lovecraft canon. Maybe when we run out of some video ideas for other episodes, we could do the expanded mythos.
Sounds fun.
So, Sarcastic.
Yes.
I've kept you in anticipation about the topic for today's episode.
You have. I know a bit about Lovecraft because of just friends and other games that have taught me a little bit here and there, but you know far more than I do. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Yes, today I'm going to be info dumping you. This is the info dump segment on the Elder Things.
Ooh, Elder Things.
They're wacky.
Yeah, I don't know shit about them.
Well, this is a good starting point. They were certainly my starting point with the lore.
Yeah, and how long have you been into the Cthulhu mythos?
Oh man, so I started reading Lovecraft when I was in middle school, probably around 13 or 14. I'm not that old, by the way. I'm 24, so I've probably about 10 years, a little over 10 years.
Okay.
Oh yeah, by the way, we're not going to talk about any of his personal life. This is strictly talking about his writing. We're separating the art from the artist. I probably should put the disclaimer earlier in the episode. We are not talking about his personal life, nor any of the shit that he would have gotten involved in his own personal life. We're not touching on that. We're only touching on the crazy, wacky aliens and eldritch gods that he came up with.
Yeah, the fun part, not the insane racism part. That's
exactly
because
yes, racism.
There's nothing for us to really say about that. So it's nothing in the sense.
There's plenty of there. If you want to look into Lovecraft's personal life, there's tons of info on that. I'm not even that well educated on it. Yeah, we should probably stay away from that. And
we're going to
ask commenters. Yes, we know his cat's name.
No, oh
no! Shut the fuck up about the comments. We're not. If I see what's his cat name, I am banning you.
Guys, just don't do it. It's not.
Just don't do it. It's not funny. It's a dead joke. It's been dead for years.
Yeah, look.
It's just the N-word, dude. It's not funny. Saying the N-word isn't funny. Come on.
Yeah, everybody knows the joke. Haha. Let's move on to the actual crazy part of his lore because that's
aliens.
Yes.
Speaking of Sarcastic, what do you know about ancient aliens, like the history TV show?
Oh,
quote unquote, the History Channel TV show.
God. Okay. I've caught a couple of episodes about it at work. One of my favorite is that Jesus was a black hole sorcerer. If you know what episode I'm referencing, please put it in the comments. I can't find it.
I don't. But yeah, we definitely should.
Yeah.
So you know how ancient aliens says aliens have helped civilization in myriad of ways, they built the pyramids.
Yeah, the idea that no ancient feat was actually the ancients. It was all aliens who just came down and gifted them. Fire was gifted. The pyramids were built by aliens. Everything was built by aliens if you look long enough.
Exactly. And remember when we were talking about that weird fucking Yakub bullshit the other night? Well, picture that, but Yakub is not a hyper-intelligent black man, but instead a horrifying monster from outer space known as the Elder Things.
Okay.
These are a race of essentially space wizards. Their technology is so powerful, it rivals magic. Think Necrons from 40K type beat.
Okay.
Except that they themselves are not made of metal. Hold on, let me pull up the description that he gives. They're these weird, they're like starfish on top of a barrel. It's such a strange design, but let me pull it up real quick.
Okay.
Hold on.
And yeah, so basically they're not actually using magic, but they're using technology so advanced that we could not And this is very common in Lovecraft, from what I do know, is that it's so
Yes.
impossibly advanced, so many infinities above you, that it might as well be
Yeah.
magic, because you're never going
Mhm.
to understand it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they did all kinds of crazy shit. We'll get into that. For now, let's look into their descriptions.
Okay.
So they, oh yeah, by the way, the wiki is a terrible resource. It spreads all kinds of misinformation just because anybody can edit it. And,
Okay.
uh, and it reinforces a lot of really bad myths about the mythos that we'll get into later, like misunderstandings about what he actually wrote.
Okay.
But anyway, here's the description of the Elder Things. 6 feet end to end, 3 5/10 central diameter, tapering at 1 foot each end, like a barrel with 5 bulging ridges in place of staves. So, like like the metal, like those like metal rings.
Yeah, yeah,
That
like be on
hold
like
on
an
the
old, like whiskey barrel or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Picture like an old whiskey barrel, and you know those metal bars that go down the side of the barrel.
Yeah.
That, but like there's ridges that extrude. So picture this, right? It's like a starfish
Oh.
stacked on top of. So that's like it's got like a starfish for a head, right?
Huh.
And then it has picture like a star fruit. Do you know what a star fruit is?
Yeah, kind of. Here, I googled an image of them at the same time. I'm gonna send it to you. Is this roughly what we're looking at?
That's kind of it, except the wings are wrong. But other than that, you got the right picture,
Okay, we'll
pretty
we'll we'll
much.
we'll have a picture on screen now for what like
Yeah,
pick something that actually looks like the right one.
yeah, that's a decent picture of one. But yeah, so then like a star fruit body, so the
Okay.
ridges go out, kind of horizontally.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so.
So like you know what a star fruit looks like, and then stack 2 starfishes like on the bottom and on top. Pull up a feather sea star real quick, and
Pull,
you'll see what I mean. Where it's got like this really feathery wings that almost were like flies through the water.
pulling up feathered sea star now.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh fuck, those things look weird.
yeah.
Those look creepy.
That is its wings. It's got 5 wings that all radiate out from each of those the concave bits in the starfruit.
Okay.
And then it's also got they each have 5 arms with like I think 125 hands each because they radiate out like plants, like branches. The arms branch out, so it has like many hands.
Okay.
So these things are not just 6 feet tall. That's just the body. When they're standing, they're about like 8 feet tall. So they're like roughly the size of like a space marine from 40K, give or take.
God damn.
Yes, and they're about as fast and about as nimble as a space marine too. Like these things are insane.
The wings maybe I get, but how do the starfish make these things space marine fast? What the hell? What is going on there?
Oh yeah, so remember when I compared them to the Necrons?
Yeah.
That's not actually that far off. They used to be mechanical, like they until they did do a transference. They didn't start off as mechanical, by the way. They just they became a mechanical race,
Okay.
and then they decided to go back to biology.
So they took it one step further than the Necrons. They
Mhm.
started biological, went mechanical, said this sucks, and transferred back.
Yeah, basically what the Silent King wants to do with the Tyranids is what these guys did, effectively, where they made the ultimate life form kind of body. Like these things are incredibly durable. These things can withstand not only the vacuum of space, but also the depths of our oceans. Just to give you an idea of like how crazy durable these things are.
It's like the most hostile environments that currently exist both on our planet and off of our planet in space. That's nothing to these
Yeah, at
guys.
least at least like yeah, exactly. I mean, they can't survive like the center of a star, and I don't even think they could live on Venus or anything like that. But like Mars, yeah, definitely they could live on Earth. Yeah, Earth was prime for them. In
Okay.
fact, let's talk about their history with Earth, because that's kind of what we know, right?
Okay.
So the Elder Things, they came to Earth even before the Cambrian explosion. Like, picture Earth as like a flaming hunk of rock that's like volcanic and molten. They
Okay.
came here and were like, we could do something with this.
So
So they started terraforming it.
so that's kind of how like Earth's starting to get to where it is now. Is that originally it was like Earth
Mhm.
freshly formed from a bunch of like shit left over in space, and then these things came along and decided, you know what? It's not too bad. It's
Yeah,
got good
exactly.
bones to it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's got good chemicals to work with. In fact, like Earth is such a fertile playing ground of all different kinds of chemicals that they're like, oh, fuck yeah. We'll establish this as an outer outpost. In fact, we don't actually know where the Elder Things come from. It's presumed outer space, but it could be some sort of it could be a parallel universe. It could be because they can travel through the Dreamlands, I believe. Or they could have just flown here from outer space, like somewhere in our universe. We don't know, but we do know that their body is made of matter from our universe, or at least like something comparable to it. So
Okay.
it's not like they're made of like crazy alien substances. It's like they're very much living things. They're just weird.
They are going to
Um,
the absolute limits of what living beings can do.
yeah, when they came down, um, they started building cities. They were already master manipulators of biology, like I said, magic as technology.
Well, these things are
So
so advanced that they can, fly through like presumably that they're from our
yeah,
universe.
so they can
That
they can use their wings to fly through space too.
yeah, so they're
Um,
strong enough to do that and terraform an entire planet. Frankly, creating life like that is yeah,
mhm.
that's not that crazy of a stretch. How about that?
Yeah, so they start building native life. Meanwhile, other alien life forms start taking notice. Particularly, I think the Migo, or the fungi from Yuggoth, depending on how you want to call them, and the Great Race of Yith, and the flying polyps. In fact, I think the flying polyps land first, and they start making a nasty mess of things. In fact, I think they caused the first extinction event on Earth, the Ediacaran extinction.
That's not very nice.
Yeah, which is Elder Things' like first project.
Yeah, also that was 4 to 5 races that I know basically nothing about. So looking forward to their
Yeah.
episodes. Do you think that we'll do just
Yeah.
one big one? It's a covering all of them, or would you want to do individual
We'd have to
episodes?
do individual ones just because it gets weird and complex,
Fair enough.
nitty gritty shit. It's not quite as expansive as say something like Warhammer, but like we could talk like maybe half an hour to 45 minutes about each of the
Okay.
alien species.
So they come here and they start creating life.
Yeah, and then the flying polyps, this race of extraterrestrial jellyfish creatures with wind manipulation powers. We'll get into them in another episode. They come to Earth and they wipe out the first sort of forms of life that the Elder Things had set up.
But
So
why?
then the Elder Things,
What did
because
life do to
the
them?
flying polyps are warlike. They're very warlike. Like
Oh,
they
okay.
just like to destroy things. But I mean, they also build.
But they didn't
Yeah,
really need a
but
reason.
they're like a rival civilization to the Elder Things. So that's
Okay.
why.
All right. Fair enough.
So the other things, they hunker down underneath the oceans where they can't really do much because they have wind manipulation powers. Then this crazy thing happens. Our big boy Cthulhu
Yeah,
is
here
like,
he is.
I don't like these things. Their smug aura mocks me.
Wait, which things? Are we talking about the?
The
Are we
elder
talking about?
things.
Okay.
The elder things. He's like, yo, my minions, the Star Spawn. They're called the Star Spawn of Cthulhu. That's like their only name that they're referred to by. But we'll call them the Star Spawn for now.
Okay.
The Star Spawn, they show up and they're like, hey, we're declaring war on you, other things. Keep in mind, the Star Spawn of Cthulhu have crazy necromancy powers because they have access to the Necronomicon, like they all have, basically their own version.
Okay.
The Necronomicon is like a magic book that gives you the powers of the outside gods, like Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep, things like that.
Yeah.
The really spooky, nasty nightmare gods.
And
So,
how many star spawn are there exactly?
they're like an entire species. So there's many, many, many. And even then, there's only like a contingency fleet that like lands and to invade Earth anyway. They start invading Earth, and the other things are like, you guys are cute, you know that, right? And they bitch slap them. They just like completely have their way with the Star Spawn.
Okay.
Like the Elder Things are so advanced. Picture like I'm gonna equate this to like D&D.
Okay.
Picture like a lich trying to fight like a beholder. It's like a lich versus beholder battle sort of deal here. It's like who's gonna win? Well, probably the beholder in my opinion, but like I don't know how challenge ratings work in that regard, but I know they're both like very advanced spellcasters. But the other
Honestly.
things already had an established presence and they're just more powerful in general.
Okay. Yeah. So the elder things being the defensive established faction on the planet. They've got that home turf advantage. And so okay,
Yeah,
we were just we
that
were
and the Starspawn were fighting with literally every other race too, because
we were
well,
just gassing up the
what does
star
Cthulhu
spawn, and then
want?
they lose.
Yeah, what does Cthulhu want? He wants blood, and so they're trying to get it for him. Well, the Starspawn have to peace out with the Elder Things. They literally sign a treaty because the Elder Things are too powerful. Like they're just like, cool. See you later, buddy.
Why do I feel
Well,
like Cthulhu's not going to let that one go?
Cthulhu was so buttfuck mad that he had to dial up his boss, Nyarlathotep, to be like, Dad, can you help me out, please? I kind of fucked up on Earth a little bit. The race that I chose to help sponsor me kind of sucks. He's like, don't worry, bro. I got you. Don't worry, Cthulhu, baby. I got you, says Nyarlathotep. And he drops, and so he instruments a plan. He introduces the Migo to the planet next.
Okay.
I think I said that they were there before, but I'm not sure. I can't remember how long the Migo were on Earth. I'll do that. We'll talk about that in their video.
I know you mentioned the Migo earlier, but what are
Yeah.
the Migo? Also,
Oh, yes. They're another alien species. But the thing is that they're not from this universe. But their closest outpost is on what we know as Pluto, but he calls Yaga. That's their name for it, is Yaga.
Also, a quick question from earlier.
Yeah, what's up?
You mentioned that and this is probably just a joke, but you mentioned it's like Daddy Nyarlathotep, and I know that there is actually like a family tree for a lot of the like Lovecraftian stuff.
Yes.
Where is
the one that you can find online is not correct. That one is made as a joke.
Okay.
That one was made tongue in cheek. He gets the family tree wrong on purpose.
Okay.
The reason why I called Cthulhu, or why I made Cthulhu call Nyarlathotep Dad, is because it's not quite. There's not a family lineage. It's more so Nyarlathotep is just a higher aspect of Cthulhu, because Nyarlathotep is like the combined sum of all of the outer gods given form. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So he is Dad. Damn. Okay.
Yes. No, his boss is still Azathoth, but he is the combined will of all of them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, as far as
But
I
he's
know,
still weaker. He's still weaker than Azathoth, though, surprisingly.
Well, yeah, but
that's just kind of how it works.
Azathoth is having a big old nappy. So it's, I mean, as far as things that are
No, he's not having a nappy. We'll get into that.
Okay.
Picture the biggest food coma you've been in your life, and somebody's just serenading you with sweet, smooth jazz. That's Azathoth. He's lulled. He's not asleep, but he's like, I can barely move.
Okay, so it's more like it's like, yeah, he's conscious, but he's just not motivated enough. He wants to be he wants to be chilling. He wants to just have a good time.
Think of Azathoth like Typhon from Greek mythology, like an incredibly powerful, badass monster that you don't want to fuck with.
I don't know much about Typhon, but we're getting off of track. We left off with the Migo being sent to Earth by Nyarlathotep.
Yes. So the Elder Things show up one day, and there's a bunch of these weird crab creatures made of fungus that show up on their doorstep, and they're like, "Hey, we brought you a gift," and they drop off this thing called the Shining Trapezohedron.
Wait a minute.
This is what?
No, just that sounded familiar. I'm like, I've heard of this before.
Yeah, this is a device that Nyarlathotep uses to possess people to get them to summon him, or an avatar of him.
Okay, and how does it like exactly work? What's the?
You have to look through it like a lens, I think, and then an avatar of him appears. It like summons him. However, if you look at it, it forms a psychic bond with you, and you like become obsessed with it, and you want to look through it as soon as you see it, basically. And only stronger-willed people can resist the urge.
Okay, and when we say strong-willed, how strong are we talking? Because some people are like, I kept to my diet.
Like resisting a craving, sort of strong.
Okay.
Like an addict resisting a craving of their fix, sort of strong.
Okay, so it's a pretty strong urge, but it is resistible. You can hold off from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until you look through it, and then an avatar of Nyarlathotep appears called the Haunter of the Dark.
Okay.
Right?
Eerie.
At least I think that's what it's called.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it's called the Haunter in the Dark. Either way, that's the story that where he shows up. Either way, this avatar is very weak. At least physically, it's very weak. But it's got pretty much its full consciousness.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
just like
I looked it up. It is a Haunter of the Dark. You're correct.
Yeah, thank you. Have you ever seen Full Metal Alchemist?
I have watched most of the original Full Metal Alchemist and all of Brotherhood. I absolutely love Brotherhood.
Yeah, I'm talking about Brotherhood for a second. You remember?
Yeah, let's go.
You remember when? What's that one like? The thing that corrupted Father, the guy who invented all of the seven deadly sins.
Oh, the
homunculi people.
Homunculus in the flask.
Yeah, the homunculus in the flask. Picture it kind of like that. It's not that weak physically, but like relative to Nyarlathotep's strength, he might as well just be a genie in a bottle.
Yeah, but that's that has an aspect of literally every outer god, whereas or other god technically,
Mm-hmm.
versus not that. So that's still like immensely powerful.
Oh, absolutely. He's basically just a genie in a bottle at this point. He is like, yo, uh, did you know that if you make this chemical, or not like specifically, but he's like, if you do this, this, and this, you can create these things called choggots. The other thing's like, no way, fam, really? And then they tried it, and they're like, whoa, this shit's cash. We could do this with other things. So basically, Nyarlathotep teaches them how to invent life from scratch,
Okay, wait a
but
minute. So, all right.
something far more powerful than they could have initially realized. Because before, the things that they invented on scratch or from scratch on Earth were just like weird microscopic life, basically.
Okay.
Even up to some more advanced life, like plants and the ediacarans, which are technically animals, but they look like plants. They're really weird. But then, when Nyarlathotep teaches them the secret of creating life from scratch again, they create the Shoggoths. Picture like a house-sized amoeba. Like I'm talking about like a two-story house.
Okay.
I'm talking about like a good upper middle class suburban house type of deal. Like so, this is like a heckin' chonker of a thing. So it's like yes, as the kids say, it's a heckin' chonker.
Yeah, I just looked it up. A heckin' chonker is one of the ways of all time to describe this thing. Good God.
Picture like a giant pile of black sludge that almost looks like it's boiling constantly. But in those bubbles appear eyes and mouths that pop in and out, kind of like bubbles, like it's boiling. So it's just like constantly glowing green and it has different eyes and shit. It glows green and then it has mouths. But technically, these things are like almost the ultimate life form because they're so adaptable. The Shoggoths, they can shapeshift. These things are very powerful and immensely strong, and in fact, they use them to build a whole bunch of their cities. And this is in the timeline, by the way. This is like right around the Cambrian explosion, give or take. So this is like 500. No, not 500. This is like
This
far more than 500 million years.
this was the this is the
like
Cambrian
this is
explosion
like
of this timeline.
yeah. This is basically what happened with it. They created the Cambrian explosion too. Yeah,
Oh my God.
and life started to flourish. Now, guess what? Remember when I brought up the ancient aliens earlier? This is important.
Yeah. Also, I'm noticing that Cthulhu called up Nyarlathotep to like get revenge on these
hmm
guys, but he gave them life. So why do I feel like this is going to be one of those things that
hmm
comes back to haunt them?
I'm about to get there.
Okay.
The Elder Things did a whole you didn't have to cut me off and invented humanity
Okay. Hey, okay.
as a discarded lab project.
So
We
our
are a discarded lab project from ancient aliens.
yeah, that sounds about right for H aliens. So our origin is from the Elder Things in the Lovecraft
Yes,
universe. Okay.
yes, correct. The Elder Things created humanity as a discarded lab project in his writings.
Oof. That is gonna be a big L over the course of their.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. By the way, but Shoggoths rebelled like several times.
Yeah, not
There's
surprising.
like a couple of revolts that have happened.
They look like they believe existence is pain. So yeah, that's fair.
But then Cthulhu shows up again in the form of people's dreams, and he's like, "Hello, humanity. How's it going?" And humanity is like, "Hello, weird squid creature. How
Oh,
are you?"
oh no, he hit us with the hey
And he's
kid.
like, he's like, "Did you know that if you focused really hard in the area between your forehead, like between like if you make a triangle with your eyes to the middle of your forehead, if you focus really hard on that bit in the middle of your forehead, you can become a god."
Wow, when I
And they're
do it,
like,
I just
"What?"
get a headache.
Yeah, that's because you're not a dreamer, my dude. Cthulhu invents the dreamers. He gives them access to exploring the dreamlands.
Okay.
And some people are able to manifest their dreams into physical space, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Especially like way, way back in the day when people were more quote unquote in touch with their pineal gland, according to Lovecraft,
Uh-huh. This
which
is
is the source of dreaming.
right.
Yeah, think like like the crystal like whatever roham rhomboid crystals or whatever the fuck those are called that those weirdos
Rhomboid
on the
crystals.
internet call. The crystals in your pineal gland, like yeah, that kind of beat. Once humanity becomes gods through Cthulhu, they overthrow the Elder Things, and the Elder Things have to retreat back to the underneath the ocean. So in a way, Cthulhu won. Oh yeah, in the meantime, before humanity was invented, the No, we don't have to go that far.
We're
But
gonna say that for another time.
the Star Spawn, the Star Spawn were fighting wars with other races. Yeah, we'll save that for another time. In the meantime, the Elder Things, yeah, they just had like a slow, steady decline,
Okay, so they've been hitting the
and that,
point of every civilization where they've just, you know, gotten a little too big, got a few too many enemies, they're not able to maintain everything.
mhm,
Fair enough.
yeah, they were just attacked from all sides, and they had internal conflict too, and so
The
they
classic.
just fell. Yeah, classic indeed. Yeah, they really like green soapstone for some reason. That's like their favorite object. In fact, they would make. There's a theory that they would make elder signs in their own sort of magic language with green soapstone stars. Like picture a star made of green soapstone that has its tips broken off,
Okay.
like just the very tips. They used it for all kinds of different stuff. They're just like basically magic talismans, as far as I can tell, that they would use just as like common everyday objects. But something about the green soapstone they really liked. They made a lot of their cities out of black marble, I believe.
So how much love are we talking? Are we talking just like this is pretty neat, I like it, or are we talking like Skaven
To
with
no,
Warpstone?
it's like in every found in like every room in every household of these things.
Skaven
Like that's
Warpstone,
the big
got it.
deal. Yes. It's not quite Skaven worship, it's more so like think of it like how we use wood or metal.
Oh, okay, so it's
Like
just
it's
more
kinda
just like
everywhere.
it's essential to them, but it's not like they're just huffing it in the garage all day.
Yeah, no, because they weren't using it to consume. They were using because the elder thing they eat animals and plants. They're omnivores, but they like animal meat the best. That's a fun fact about them. But the thing is, green soapstones were used in their technology, I believe, or in their magic, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But yeah, don't know why, but they like green soapstone. That's just their thing.
Sure.
Something about it, man. But yeah, what's the runtime looking at?
Let's see. We're at 35 minutes, almost 36.
This might be a shorter episode then, because I'm starting to run out of things to talk about. Oh, we could talk about At the Mountains of Madness. So in the book, they go to Antarctica to go dig up fossils. Right, that's the premise of the book.
Okay.
But then they end up stumbling into the Elder Thing civilization that's like dead. Like they find a ghost town. Well, they start by digging up a dead Elder Thing, and then it kills some people, but off screen. Like they
Wait,
show up to the scene where like everybody's just like really fucked up and dead,
wait. So
and
like even the dead version of the Elder Thing is strong enough to just kill like the remnants of
well,
its
it
body, or
wasn't dead. It woke up. It was
oh,
frozen in the ice. It wasn't dead. It woke up and they started dissecting it, and then they killed them.
hey, if I woke up mid dissection and a couple of monkeys were cutting me up, I'd probably,
Yeah, a
that's
couple of
fair.
your discarded lab experiments are cutting you up. Think like Sid from fucking Toy Story being put on the surgery table by his toys.
Oh
Like that's the
jeez.
deal here.
Oh shit.
Like that's the kind of dynamic that we're thinking about here. And so it's like, fuck you, monkey, and then it just like kills all the people in the room.
Yeah,
You
fair enough.
fucking ape creature,
Hey, yo,
how dare you?
it's Lovecraft. They're lucky if it just killed them, honestly. Like there are
Oh yeah, true.
so many worse fates. I'm gonna be honest.
Very true. But then they eventually make it to the city where they start exploring, and that's where most of the book lies. It's them just exploring and explaining what they saw of the city. But then they say that there's something indescribable that they don't want to tell anybody about, and nor do they want to describe it. That is kind of like one of the big mysteries of At the Mountains of Madness, at least when I first read it. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? What I think it actually happened was, this is just speculation, don't quote me on this, but I think they found a portal to the Dreamlands that was just like open.
I was just chilling there.
Yeah, because they talk about like, they just say something like unspeakable and terrible on the other end.
All right, and so
It could be a hole to the outside, which is like where Cthulhu and his ilk reside as well. But something tells me it could be to there.
I kind of think
But
that it could be because I mean, like the Dreamlands, like there are
yeah,
dreamers. There are people who can go there and
yeah,
comprehend it, and it doesn't
yeah,
break.
because the Dreamlands is kind of like Alice in Wonderland.
So but yeah, the idea that it's something even more so, even scarier. Just it's like I refuse to even. Now look, I think it was just that Lovecraft didn't like. He was just like he's like I'm gonna tell, don't show. I
Yeah,
think that works for that explanation more to me. Until told otherwise, that's my headcanon. All right, so what else happens in the Men's of Madness?
that's about it. It's a long book. It's quite a long run through. But most of it is just like him going over journals and audio logs like the main character, and then him just describing the city, which is like this massive labyrinth of carved marble. In fact, I remember some of the architecture that he described. He describes like some conical towers with like scalloped discs going up the sides of the cone.
Okay.
It's almost like picture a tree surrounded by like fungus sort of deal, except that the trees are carved into cones. And you know what that kind of fungus that grows on like the sides of trees, like
Yeah.
that weird like scallopy kind of stuff. It kind of mimics that, but it's made out of black marble. And they also have some. Remember how I described the green soapstone things?
Yeah.
They have like pyramids, not pyramids, more like ziggurats built like those.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So it's like a star with the tips broken off as like a prism. It's like a star-shaped prism,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and then it's built into a ziggurat, and
Dude,
that's like kind of the stuff that he's talking about in
That's-
that city.
that's weird. I would. Is there any decent art of this that you have?
No, in
Ah.
fact, there isn't like hardly any art of the actual city itself, and I'd love to see some, but
I mean, understandable.
I mean, I can
because
make some.
because you not only
take
have to
time.
like read through the book, understand it. You then need to be an artist good enough to actually display.
Yeah,
It's
I've
like
drawn
display
sketches
that.
of
It's
some
like,
of the buildings. Those are old sketches. I'd have to redraw them. So that's the Elder Things.
all
I
right.
think that's a good time to wrap up the episode.
Think so? Okay.
Thank you, everyone, so much for listening.
Yeah. Thank you for
Um,
joining on this very educational trip down a very wholesome subject.
yes, of ancient aliens inventing humanity as a discarded lab project. Cosmic horror, fun. All right, take care, everyone.
Everyone have a good time.